All right, everyone, welcome back to our next episode of Regiment on the Run. I forget what number this actually is, but let's not dwell on that.
Let's say it's 69 because it's a funny number.
Sure. So, last we left off, Zan and the CRT team squad got kind of fucked up by their old superior, who not only didn't pay them for all their efforts, but also tried to kill them and use them as human experiments. So that was fun. They did not manage to take down the captain, however, they did manage to take down his minion, and they also managed to break into some of the communications channels that the captain had been using in order to pass messages along and organize some heinous business. So, now Terry's spy master roster has just gotten a little bit larger. That is the legacy of Captain McDumbass.
I like that name.
He's not dead. If you'd let me do it, he might be.
That's entirely up to Terry.
Yeah, Terry, why didn't you let Ert handle all the problems ever?
Hmm. I don't know if we should be letting Ert handle all the problems ever.
Or really any problems, honestly.
It's not so much handling, it's more of a substitution. We replace your problem with a more interesting problem.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Why are you so mean, Terry?
Yeah, Ert's sulking.
More intelligent than anything. Honestly, more intelligent than mean.
Nobody ever lets Ert do anything fun. He says as he sits there with all the runes he just gathered from the dead wizard.
I was about to say, I distinctly recall allowing you to do a whole lot of things with Mold Earth.
All right. And on that note, Theron steps forward and gives a knock on one of the tent posts.
Yes, Farron, come on in.
Theron comes in and she says, Zan, I have my report for the possible locations that the army could be moved to. To give a brief summary, there is the Church of Junaug. There is the western area where Terry thinks that he could contact one of his old friends. We could circle back to Windgate. We could also head directly east in order to evade pursuit by the undead. And then there is the southwest route, which is not remarkable in any way whatsoever.
Not remarkable in any way whatsoever, huh?
Completely unremarkable.
I see. I'm somehow not convinced. But uh Farron, you wanna step outside and talk about this real fast?
Baron gives you a nod and steps out. Ert, do you invade privacy?
Ert just slowly molds Earth down into the ground and starts.
I like to think that he doesn't move when he does the Mold Earth. It's just like he just
T
sinks,
poses.
just straight sinks into the ground.
So, Baron steps outside with Terry and Zan and says, I wanted to keep this private from Ert, just in case, but we managed to spot a hell of a lot of dwarvish runes on the southwestern path, and in fact, there seems to be a sort of dwarvish caravan that's transporting supplies.
Like you actually.
Ert's head just rises out of the ground.
Baron just looks down to Ert and just goes, oh.
Zan steps on Ert's head and pushes him back into the ground.
Ert continues rising. Zan weighs nothing.
Fair enough. That's honestly pretty fair. Hollow bones, hollow bones.
And Baron just sighs.
So I'm now perched on Ert's head. My claws are my talons rather are kind of digging in. Not like deep enough to really hurt, but I'm staying there. I'm not moving.
Yep, he's perched.
I'm perched on Ert's giant bald dome.
Okay, you there, sword. Ert stares at her ears for a while. Human,
That
sword human, which way?
I think she's actually
as
a half elf, isn't she? I don't remember. I think she's
Well, we
elf.
can figure that out later. She's not responding to that particular barb. She says, as I had mentioned, it is southwest.
Ert raises his voice. Okay, guys, get moving. Pack her up.
Everybody in the camp aside from, the immediate superiors here, is starting to get packed up. They've gotten new orders
Wait, since when did they listen to Urt?
since Ert gave them an order.
Yeah, but why would they ever listen to Urt's orders?
You should ask them that.
Terry and Zan should have told the entire camp to never listen to Urt's orders. Ever.
Well, in that case, we can go and tell them that right now.
They should know that already. Oh my gosh. Okay. Zan looks over to Terry and Farron and says, just to be sure, so you said dwarven runes, but have you actually seen like actual dwarves?
Yes.
Okay. Terry, what do you make of this?
Terry well, it is a lead.
Or just staring at Terry. You got something to say?
Not to you.
Got him.
Thought so. Or just starts walking away with Zan perched on him.
Okay. I
Zan
guess
has
we're
to either get off or abandon the conversation.
Zan gets off. Zan flutters down back to Terry and Farron. And I'm just gonna, maybe we give Urt this one. Southwest doesn't sound too bad, just because it's away from the things behind us, and we don't want to be near the things behind us right now.
Farron says that was her summation of the situation as well. She does note that she's very sorry for not properly maintaining informational security.
It's kind of hard when Urt rises out of the ground while you're speaking.
Farron notes that this is true, but it doesn't make her feel any better about it.
Yeah, well, fair.
The secret is you got to search for people in 360 degrees Celsius.
Ah,
I hate you so much, Shoggy.
not Kelvin.
That too.
Okay.
First one, then to other.
So, Farron notes that the route towards this place isn't actually all that complicated. The only real big thing is that there isn't a road on this particular route, which, Ert's going to solve fairly easily. But she does suggest that if you were going to talk to a dwarvish caravan, it might not be the best option to just go up with an entire 100-man's force of soldiers.
Probably.
We'll have them come further behind us. We just have like a smaller party out front, and then the big group coming behind.
But behind the tent, Ert is up on top of Katie and its giant goblin thing. He is rigging it for battle.
Why are we battling the dwarves? Wait, what?
Fine, he is rigging it for earth moving.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
That would really surprise me though if Ert's been talking about dwarves the whole time, and the very first thing he does when he sees dwarves is just attack,
Well,
kill,
the assumption is they'll tell me to kill someone.
and you're just gonna listen to some random. Okay,
Of course he's going to listen to some random okay.
fair.
So, Farron does state that this seems like a situation for a smaller group of people, so she would suggest that you, Zan, and Ert, and possibly one of the CRT, if you want them there.
The
Well,
important
go
thing is
head
getting
out.
Ert out of the camp.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, so
Quite a bit to be done.
she definitely suggests that you keep it to a small roster, and if you want any of the CRT to come along with you, they are available for this.
I don't think we need you guys for this. Just keep an eye on the surroundings and like have somebody watch the back of the formation, make sure that nobody catches up with us, that sort of thing. I think the three of us can handle it.
All right. Then that, Farron says, sounds like more or less a plan. Then she'll start organizing the logistics of the army and have a stern talking to about them about taking Ert's word for anything.
Yes, please do.
Ert points a hammer at her. And he goes, Bubbles is in charge of the crystal.
What? Bubbles is in charge of nothing, Zan says immediately.
Baron says, Ert, with all due respect, I think I am more inclined to trust Zan's judgment on this.
Just grumbles.
Zan pats Ert on his bald head and says, "It's okay, Ert. Bubbles could be in charge of making flower crowns for the crystal."
Ert is slightly mollified by this. They die after about 3 minutes.
They just get sucked
Sucked
dry.
right in.
Oh, jeez. She can make a.
I mean, there's a whole reason the crystal levitates. Otherwise, the grass just dies.
Exactly. You gotta be careful.
What it's doing to that goblin, who knows?
Meanwhile, over at Lung Thunk is just like, Ert, is it normal for it to be growing into my back?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Zan looks down to Ert and says, "What are you gonna do when it kills him?"
I'm figuring he'll be sort of like a crystal golem.
Okay, and if he doesn't end up being able to move freely,
I mean, the crystal will eat him. Ert's just watching to see what happens, man.
okay.
Like, this is fascinating.
I have no attachment to Lunk Thunk as a living being, so do what you will.
So, with that, shall we transition over to our next map?
Yep.
Okay. Zoop.
Zoop. Shoop the whoop.
Let's get you guys out here. Got Tara, Zan, and Ert.
And Canny.
Right, I have to put Canny on here too. Canny 2.0.
I think we're up to 3.
I mean, possibly.
I think it is 3.0.
How did Canny 2.0 die?
That was last session, wasn't it? Or
Canny?
it was either last session or
No,
the session
Canny
before.
1.0 got upgraded without death, and Canny 2.0 died.
So
Oh,
only
I
one
see.
death. Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone took the angry wizard soul out of it, and now it's just a frog.
Ribbit.
Well, regardless, you giant nerd burgers. Welcome to this dwarvish caravan thing. You are all over here, and you can see a collection of dwarves. They appear to be piloting a metal and stone wagon of some sort. There is not a scrap of wood in its construction.
Are you sure about that? This picture seems to scream wood to me.
How dare you?
It has been carefully layered layers of bronze and copper.
to make it look like wood.
Exactly.
So, in addition to all that, it seems that these guys have actually set up. The cart is missing exactly one of its wheels, and it also has a large canopy that appears to have been recently constructed. And also, there is an entire forge set up on the side of the road.
Well
Are we
then,
gonna talk about the centaur?
We have found my people.
Yeah, the cart is, in theory, being piloted, being dragged by a centaur, but the centaur is very much on break. He's just sitting in his harness having snacks.
But he looks pretty chill. He doesn't look like he's enslaved. He looks like he's voluntary.
Yeah, it's very much a situation that, like, he was hired for this.
Cool. All right.
I'm getting paid by the day.
All right. Zan turns to Ert, looks at Terry briefly, looks back to Ert, whispers to Terry, "Stop me if this is stupid." Ert, it's your people. Have at it.
Ert looks around and has to establish who has the biggest beard.
Okay, you look around and you establish that the man with the biggest beard is, in fact, the guy who appears to be in charge of the cart. He has fantastic mustaches, too.
well look.
Mustaches. He has more than one mustache?
Yes, he has multiple.
Jeez. I hope his eyebrows are also mustaches.
Ert stomps forward deliberately and holds his hand out in the secret dwarven handshake.
Okay.
Oh, God. Roll me persuasion with disadvantage.
Please explain to me what the secret dwarf handshake is as you do so.
Are you a dwarf?
I'm watching. I want to see how you do the secret handshake.
If you could see it, it wouldn't be secret.
I have really good perception. I'm a bird.
1.
Oh no. Natural 1 plus 0.
Or just holds the hand out.
Zan and Terry just sit back and wait for Urt to die.
Foreman
Well,
looks down at Urt and says, "Who the fuck are you? What clan are you from?"
I am Urt from Clan Boat Murdered, mountain home to the Boat Murdered clan. I seek audience with the Dwarf King.
The man gives a groan and he says, "Oh, another one."
Zan is walking up, kind of like trying not to laugh, holding out one hand and saying, sorry about our idiot."
The dwarf looks over to Zan a little bit suspiciously and says, "What the hell are you here for then?"
We are part of a, I guess, group of soldiers that were formerly Empire soldiers, hence the idiot here, not knowing anything about dwarf culture. And we are currently trying to not be part of the Empire, and hence are moving away from it.
Urt is just glaring at Zan.
At me?
Yes.
Meanwhile, Mr. Sandstout grimaces a little bit and says, "Well, we here are the Sandstout Brewing Company, and we're just stuck here for another day or so while I get the fucking wheel fixed. Hey, Pick! You done yet?" Pick shoots him a rude gesture from over by the forge.
Rude gesture. Wonderful. So Zan's looking and is like, I'm assuming it's because you're missing a wheel.
Well, yeah. Fucking,
What?
I swear to God, they don't make stone wheels the way that they used to.
What? Why?
Urt nods. Yes.
Terry, it's not Terry. Zan looks back to Terry. There we go.
Yes.
And just kind of stares at Terry, not stares, but like looks pleadingly at Terry and says, mouths. I can't mouth. I have a beak. Dang it. This is hard.
he's
Kind of
trying to signal
gestures.
help.
Help me. They're making, just as soon as the word stone wheel was said, Zan just turns around and looks at Terry and says, please help.
I am not equipped for this.
I don't know how to handle this.
Urt nods sagely. The secret is to find a nice igneous stone and mold it.
Foreman Sandstout gives a nod and says, "At least you know your shit."
Can
Urt
I
hands up.
roll an insight on these guys?
Go ahead.
Zan pipes up while she's doing the insight and says, didn't you just call, like, he just said he was a boat murderer, and now you're saying that he knows his stuff. I'm really confused.
Boat murderers aren't the problem. Whatever that old clan that actually is. It's dwarf cultists that are the problem.
Well, all boat murderers are dwarf cultists, so
He grimaces and says, "Oh, God!"
never visit the Empire.
Foreman Sandstout shakes his head and says, "Yeah, maybe you really are a dwarf, but that doesn't explain your fucking weird behavior. You're just like that quote-unquote elf that we spotted a couple of weeks ago."
Terry's ears perk at that and go, elf?
Yeah, it's the weirdest fucking elf I ever met. And he goes on to tell a story about an elf who is so aggressively elfish that he made a point of stopping to hug every single tree.
Oh no.
Urt raises a hammer. Did he sneak back in the night and cut them down?
Sandstout shakes his head and says, "Yeah, that night, every single tree that he hugged got mysteriously cut down. Biggest mystery of the fucking century."
Yeah. We tell him not to do that.
Zan just looks over to Urt and is just very surprised that Urt did not react at all to being called just like an elf by a dwarf. I'm surprised there was no reaction there.
He was
Well,
obviously
Terry-
fooled by our disguises.
We're wearing disguises?
No.
Oh.
Harry,
spies
go ahead
do.
and roll me another insight, as the previous one didn't give you all that much information.
Oh,
This one,
natural
okay.
one.
Does someone want to help? Does someone want to assist?
That is a very binary. Yes, someone should support that
Zan
role.
has been trying to assist Terry in this entire endeavor.
Then
Can't
I will
ribbons
allow you
at
to
you.
take that nat 20 just because it's funny to go straight from 0 to 20.
All right.
So, Terry, Ert is talking about us having disguises, and this guy was talking about dwarf cultists who, and apparently the big thing is that they want to meet the dwarf king.
And so they think Ert is a cultist.
Yes. And also, Ert does not at all seem to be surprised that people would go around pretending to be elves, and in fact says that that's the kind of disguise that they would give.
Harry's gonna walk up and just like, I apologize for my friend. As you can see, he's a bit of an idiot.
A bit.
Sandstout gives a laugh and says, "You don't say."
Just glares up at Terry. Like, I will have you know that just because I flunked out of the espionage course does not mean I am in any way less of a dwarf.
It's just Terry pats Ert's head. He's not what you think he is. He's from overseas, and their culture is very different from mainland dwarves.
Mr. Sandstout gives a huff and says, "Well, in that case, you can either decide to buy some of the stuff that we've got in stock, or you can quit bothering us. Because I don't want to hear anything about this overseas bullshit. It's bad enough that we deal with air."
Nods sagely at this. It was horrible. We're going to set up a
Bad
portal.
enough that we have to breathe. How dare we have to breathe oxygen?
They don't want to stay above ground.
There's
Anywho,
air underground too.
Terry just kind of just nods. She goes, yes, of course.
The only true way to move is via underways.
Foreman Sandstout actually perks up at this and says, "You heard of the underways, have you? At least you're actually knowledgeable about this shit."
Ours is 2/3 of the way under the ocean.
Sandstout thinks about this and says, "Okay, you're either an idiot or you're a genius. I'm leaning towards idiot."
Zan pipes up from the back and says, "We've already confirmed he's an idiot."
Just there. Ert's like, you know how you make underways, right? They don't just like grow. You know, you take a lot of crystals and mold earth runes and you dig one. What is surprising about this?
It's surprising that it's under the ocean.
Oh,
Sandstout looks at Ert and says, "Use crystals? Haven't you ever heard of using a god honest pick? Come on!"
Ert just stares at him for a second and pulls out his personal crystal.
Foreman Sandstout waves this away and says, "No, don't even want to hear it. This trip's been aggravating enough. Talk to someone, anyone else." He looks like he's going to stomp off in, some sort of frustration. And then he doesn't have anywhere to stomp off to, so he just turns around.
Ert is just very disappointed because he was going to do some magic. And this guy's not interested. And he is definitely the most dwarfish dwarf here.
Why would Zan's kind of like walking up behind Ert and like asking Ert, why would dwarves who are renowned for their digging and their physical labor and their hand craftsmanship and all that stuff be interested in magic more than handcrafts?
Efficiency! Observe!
Uh-oh.
Okay, you there, elf, heat metal.
Terry just no.
And scene.
That's okay, I can do it myself. So, Ert's just gonna sit down here and he's gonna start setting up this forge for real.
Oh, God.
He's gonna hook up a heat metal rune, he's gonna hook up a levitate rune, he's gonna, mold earth himself a nice stone chair. with proper lumbar support.
That's important. That's important.
I
No,
mean,
dude.
so Erd is just sitting there and he is building this forge up into something amazing and just taking over for it from this guy.
Old Pick here, first objects to this, and then as it goes on, goes from objecting to critiquing and directing.
Like Erd casually mentioned to him, I don't know shit about metal.
Well,
Great.
Old Pick just grimaces and says, "You'd be astonished how many proper dwarves don't know metal."
So Erd is just sitting there and he is more or less bending random pieces of metal into a wheel and just melting it all together and hoping for the best.
Harry's gonna look to Zan and just, how long are we gonna let this go?
Zan thinks about it for a little bit. You know, he's been waiting for dwarfs for a while. Why don't we just let this happen? I'm gonna just tell the foreman over here that he should be expecting a big group of soldiers to be marching by soon. And we're not gonna bother him with them, but he just needs to be aware of it.
All right, so as this conversation is happening, Terry is actually approached by one of the dwarves.
All right.
They're the same height.
I know, right?
Erd is suspicious.
So this dwarf approaches Terry and says, "You guys mentioned some stuff about the underways, right?"
It just, yes.
Well, funny thing is that we're actually not allowed to use the underway that goes from here to the church, which is, where we're destined. But Mr. Sandstout over there, he actually does have some underways that go further south into the desert. If you wanted an easy route that didn't actually, have you going over the fucking desert, because apparently people don't really like that particular path, well, you might be able to talk him into it.
It sounds like a good idea, Terry.
This does sound like a good idea. So Terry is definitely going to take him up on this.
The dwarf, Mr. Wheelbarrow, informs you that
Oh
unfortunately,
my gosh, I didn't even catch that. I hate you so much. Okay, continue.
all right, so Mr. Wheelbarrow says that unfortunately Mr. Sandstout is a very traditional dwarf and is not particularly friendly or well-paying or sensible. Wheelbarrow wishes that he worked for a different clan.
Aw.
So, meanwhile, over at Zan, Foreman Sandstout is very firmly sitting on his chair backwards.
Zan flies up in the air above Foreman Sandstout, and just
There's a canopy.
does it go over the front right there?
Not entirely. You
You
probably
just
could
perch up
squeeze
on top of
there
it.
if you really wanted to.
I'm going to perch on top of it. Where what's it made out of?
Oh, it is, of course, made of stone.
Stone, not metal. Stone. Okay.
Yes.
So I perch on top of it, directly over him. I don't look down at him. I'm just perched on it. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't look at lesser beings. No. And I'll just talk to him without looking at him still, and tell him, hey, just so you know, we got a full group of my soldiers are going to be coming down this path soon. They shouldn't bother you. If they do bother you, let me know and I will fix that. But we are going to have a fair amount of people marching by here in a bit.
There's a pause at this, and then he knocks on the roof of the little canopy here and says, "You said that there's a bunch of soldiers, right?
Yes, sir.
Any chance they'd be thirsty soldiers?"
Almost certainly.
It just, where he wants to make a deal.
Oh, I know.
Mr. Sandstout says, "Hypothetically, you come down here and we can talk about some details."
Okay.
So, does Zan actually come down?
Oh, I wish I was part owl instead of part eagle. I would just
Yeah,
do
just so that you can just pivot over the edge.
just like rotate my head around. Anyway, he'll hop down beside him. Sure.
All right.
I'll be like right there.
So, Mr. Sandstout says,
Bang my head on the canopy. Oh, dang. Okay. Yep. Sorry. I'm good.
Yes, it is very much made for dwarf proportions. So, Mr. Sandstout says to Zan, "Well, I'm Mr. Sandstout. Yeah, the Sandstouts." And he gestures back at the cart, which seems to be rather undersupplied, honestly. Like, there's space for 5 times as many barrels as there actually are.
Oh, great.
And he says, "This is some of my private supply, and we're going to take it over to the church of Janau, just over to the east. But if you can make me a good offer, well, I might be able to get you into my own personal underway."
Okay. What are we talking about here? Like, what are we in terms of price?
Well, I'm just curious, how much sand stout will you guys actually want to buy?
Um, this is awkward. Zan doesn't drink. He doesn't tell the foreman that, but Zan doesn't drink. He is in fact what they call a lightweight, hence the hollow bones. A
Damn it!
little sip, and he just passes out drunk. So he just doesn't because bad idea.
You can
How so?
smell it though.
How many barrels for the army? How many barrels does he have? It's like you said it wasn't super full, it was just a few.
Yeah. But if you ask him how many barrels he pulls out a bag and opens it up and shows you the top of a stone barrel that could not possibly fit inside the bag.
Oh, stone barrel. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You guys have stone fetishes. Um,
Do you say this out loud?
no.
Okay, good.
I think it aggressively. Very aggressively.
Okay.
Um, how much does one barrel cost?
He names a price. It's actually pretty reasonable. You get the impression that he makes a lot of his profits off of quantity rather than quality.
Oh no.
Well, we're
Well,
supplying an army here.
yeah, I forget how many troops do we have? Is it 100? Something like
Yeah,
that?
you have 100 in total.
Okay. 100 dudes, one barrel. Hmm. What about 10 barrels? How much would 10 barrels cost us?
He names the price, and once again, it does seem fairly reasonable, but he's clearly angling for more, mentioning how, for that sort of soldier, you really can't get relaxed unless you really let loose and party, you know?
And the soldiers are going to be walking right past this cart.
Exactly.
They're going to see inside and they're going to wonder, why
Oh,
didn't their superior look out for them?
so here's the thing. Um, how about my soldiers get paid, right? My soldiers have their own money, right? They
Yeah.
they make their own choices. They're strong, independent men. They don't need no. Okay, anyway.
Here.
Um, how about I allow them to make purchases from you if you give me information about the underway? And that way you could sell as much as you want to them, and they will buy it of their own accord, and you'll probably sell more than 10 barrels.
Zan, roll me a persuasion.
Oh, I'm great at these with my -1 modifier. Here we go.
If
Uh,
Terry wanted to chime in, he could.
Harry can.
persuasion. So advantage then. -1 advantage. Here we go. Double ones. Ooh, an 8! Hey, look at me. I rolled a 9. And it's now an 8. Okay.
So, Mr. Sandstout says, listen, if you're not serious about this, get me with someone who is, all right?
I mean, you still haven't really. Okay. I'm isn't particularly serious about this, so if Terry wants to continue any further negotiations, it's fine. But Zan doesn't really see a whole lot of if the whole quantity over quality thing really just made kind of lost interest.
All right. So, we're going to cut away from that for just a moment. So, Ert, you over at the Forge with Old Pick, you have accumulated quite a crowd, and it's a crowd of people who want to know what the hell you're doing and are also offering all sorts of critique. It appears to be rather traditionally dwarvish to see something amazing happening and then criticize you for not doing it even more amazingly.
Heh.
Well,
Sounds
look,
about right.
if you can do better, here's the crystal, here's the runes.
Several eyes go wide at
And Urch is going to start getting them out. Because this is what I do. I am a boat murderer runesmith second class.
Second class.
that.
Well,
Boy.
yeah. Once you make it to first class, you're not allowed to talk to, never mind.
No.
So, Ert is being approached by some folks. Some folks actually do want to try out this wonderful new rune. Terry, you notice that Ert is getting a lot of attention. Like, a lot of attention. Like,
Yeah.
hmm.
Terry's gonna look into that.
And the best part about runic magic is with proper preparation, you can cast them all at once. Who wants to see Candy fly?
Kennedy goes, not me, not me!
Candy isn't able to say anything. He just ribbits.
Yes. He ribbits in distress.
He sounds like Kermit the Frog.
So, several people want to see Canny fly. Terry, are you going to intervene in this or the negotiation for the, army getting the wonderful underway?
God.
Can't be everywhere.
Can I roll intelligence?
Go for it.
Let's just roll the save, right?
Yep.
17.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so, Terry, you suspect that Ert can cause a hell of a lot more trouble, but the negotiations aren't going to go anywhere until someone with an actual head on their shoulders, greens.
Hey. Zan takes out a sword and cuts at the fourth wall to try to kill numbers. No, just kidding.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Zan has been actually very level-headed, just murder happy.
I have a really good head on my shoulders. And my enemies don't
Well,
have any
that's
heads on
several
their
other people's
shoulders.
heads.
My enemies have no heads on their shoulders.
Yeah, because you've been collecting them, you fucking weirdo. I'm kidding.
It's more an intimidation factor than anything. You better watch out, DM. I'm coming for you.
Oh. So, Terry, do you want to go with the incredibly unpersuasive Zan, or do you want to try and desperately to keep Ert out of trouble and probably still fail anyway?
I feel like I need to keep Ert out of trouble.
Oh.
Something to mention, though, is can you do that yourself?
How about this? How about we high five and swap places?
Yeah, you really should just do that.
Alright,
Is
it
it-
looks like Terry's going to switch places with Zan.
I can hear the despair in Becky's voice.
Zan, wing fives, Terry.
Terry has to try so hard to keep things together.
I didn't make anything
Well, you can
fall
come
apart.
over with Zan. Like, you could go and grab him and bring him over. I think
Uh,
we're allowed to let that conversation lapse until after shenanigans.
Speaking of shenanigans, uh, has been approached by several people who are very interested in trying out the runes, and there are also a lot of questions, like probing questions. And, Ert, are you exercising any amount of restraint? That is a stupid question. I'm sorry I asked.
Yep, he has all just yanked the crystal that powers Candy out and is using it for demo purposes.
And there are several folks who want to know if this grants them magical energy.
Oh, yeah. Although getting it into you is a bit tricky.
So, Zan, please imagine, real quick, as you head over towards Ert, you find him, and Ert, I want you to describe how giving someone magical energy actually operates.
Oh, this is great. Hey, bird breath, over here. Just hop over them.
Zan literally steps on their heads as he walks by, and walks over to Ert, and
There are several accusations that this is not only rude, it is racist.
Zan ignores them because he doesn't give a fuck. Stands next to Ert, puts a hand on Ert's shoulder, and squeezes really hard really hard and says, Ert, you can show them rune stuff all you want. Shut up about the crystals.
But they want to know how to refill their magic.
Yeah, one
Boo.
guy in the crowd actually raises his hand and says, "He promised."
Ert rolls a 24 on his saving throw against Zan trying to muscle him.
Would that be a con save? Would it be? Would it not just
I
be
rolled 24 con. What do you got for strength, buddy?
I'm more surprised that it's a contested saving throw instead of an attack, but I'll roll a 19.
We're just rolling
Didn't quite
stats
match
at
up.
each other.
Yeah,
Okay,
not,
so
not quite the same.
Kurt, you managed to do this despite Zan physically trying to stop you. How does the process work?
Okay. So Bird Breath here gave me the idea. You see, what you need is you need the magic inside of you so you can cast it. So who here's got the highest level spells?
Oh no! You are not sticking crystals inside of people. You are not doing that.
So Ert looks up at you, and he's just holding a long sliver of crystal with a nice sharp pointy end and a grabby end.
Sleight of hand, I'm taking that from him.
Okay, roll it.
21.
What's
Okay,
my save on that?
Kurt, this is going to be a perception roll or your own sleight of hand.
Good luck.
Ert looks at his empty hand as like, huh.
God.
Zan punches Ert in the small of his back and does a stunning strike.
But there would be no combat. Apparently, I am a liar.
Yep.
It's not
Come
combat. It's not combat. It's just-
what? Yeah, there's no attack roll. He just hit me. What do I have to do to try to
what's my
resist a stunning
DC?
strike?
What's my? It's a con save, but I'm forgetting my DC right now.
The con save is always 8 plus your proficiency plus whatever stat you're using, which in Monk's case is wisdom.
Wisdom. So 15. You're trying to beat a con 15.
Ert does not beat it.
Ert is stunned.
So Ert falls to the ground, unable to move for a time, and everybody's just like, "What the hell are you doing, man?"
Zan just looks at all of them and says, "I just saved your lives. You're welcome. Don't listen to the idiot."
But he was going to try and give us magic.
He was going to Zan holds up the sharp crystal and says he was going to shove these into your arms, sharp point first, and then see what happens. He's never done this before.
Canny burbles next to you.
Zan shoves it back into Canny.
You know what? I'm going to have you try and inject sense into these people. So roll me a wisdom saving throw, Zan.
Wisdom
I'm
saving
gonna
throw.
let Terry assist.
It's like, what is this about stabbing people?
He's going to have heard all the commotion and be like, hold on just a second.
23.
Okay, so you managed to convince these people, by and large, that actually, being stabbed with the crystal would be
Zan shows his scars and describes how he wasn't able to freaking move and how his hands felt like they were on fire. In detail.
with graphics.
With graphics. With Ert's graphics. No. With a graphic Ert.
God damn it! Oh lordy, but yeah, sours things for a while, and people get back to their old things. Meanwhile, Terry, you're in the middle of negotiating with Foreman Sandstout, and you had to break off, and Foreman Sandstout just has his arms crossed. He thinks you're so rude. Come on.
Terry apologized and ran over to help. And now he's gonna go back and he's going to once again apologize. Like, I am so sorry about that.
Foreman Sandstout just shakes his head and says, "You non-dwarves really have no idea what the hell you're doing with yourselves, do you?"
Now that's racist.
Terry just goes, well, I have to control that one. Points to Ert.
Sandstout looks like he's about to object to this, and then he just gives a nod and says, "Fair point."
Anyways, you wanted to talk to us about some trade as well as passage through the underground?
Yeah. Sandstout gestures towards the road and he says, "There's actually a nice, well, nice. It's in shambles like everything in his fucking family, but there's a particular underway that actually goes straight to the church, and they just don't let us use it because I pointed out perfectly reasonably that his kid wasn't an actual dwarf."
And
Uh,
just why aren't they allowed to use it if they're not a dwarf?
No, 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 no. It's not a race thing. It's just that every one of these underways is privately owned, you know? Proper dwarvish style. Except that sometimes you get these egalitarians who think that, oh, other people can be dwarves too. It doesn't matter if they're not short. Ugh, fucking. I don't know what the hell got into the Iron Founderson clan adopting a fucking human.
And just Terry's just sitting there, just a lot of that sounds really, really racist. I'm sorry, but I just have to point that out.
It's okay. Dwarves can't be racist.
It's not racist. I'm just pointing out that people who aren't dwarves. They shouldn't pretend like they're dwarves.
Jacques has been listening to this for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's been putting up with this for so fucking long. He's just so over it.
Just have him look at Terry and go, ask him what he thinks about kids these days.
Exactly. Like
Oh
literally that.
no. Oh no.
I'm just gonna,
Don't
you
do it, it's a
know,
trap.
I'm just gonna let him do his thing. I'm just gonna let him do his thing.
Yep, yep.
And
You can keep your racist beer.
Yeah. Enjoy your racist beer, everybody. Okay.
we're just gonna very politely, they just move along with this and figure out, you know, what needs to be done to get access to these tunnels.
Okay. So what needs to be done is in order to get access to these tunnels, you need Sandstout's approval because he privately owns these tunnels.
All right.
And Terry is faced with his greatest challenge yet, mollifying a racist.
Yeah.
Oh, lordy, this is a session that's taken a turn.
Hey, you're the one that made the dwarf racist.
You are the one that made the
Well,
dwarf racist.
I think Ert made him racist by existing.
Ert makes everybody racist by existing, honestly. Just against Ert. I don't know, that's not racist. Hmm.
So should we go straight? Should we continue with the Terry discussion, or should we push anything else forward first?
Um,
I already pushed Ert forward.
Yeah.
well, let's go over what Terry would be willing to compromise on, because that is going to be fairly important here.
Well, we need to get this underground passage. We need to get access to this.
Yes.
But we
This
also
specific
need,
one, or in general?
just in general, and this is the only one we know that exists.
What about the non-racist passage?
The overland one?
Well, he's here because he was kicked out of a because he wasn't allowed to use an underway because he was a massive racist.
Yes.
Yeah, but that underway goes somewhere else that we're not going.
Oh, good point.
So the question becomes, are there other underways? And Terry, while you might not know that yourself, you do have some contacts.
Yes, he
I
does.
thought he wore glasses. Woo! Yeah, fun pun! Yay! Woo!
Thank you, Zach. Your input is always appreciated.
You're welcome.
So, Terry, are you actually going to try and negotiate this, or are you going to try and do things the Terry way?
Let's try to do things the Terry way. He's sure that no one's going to question this.
My way, oh, the Terry way.
Okay, so, Terry, how do you perform things the Terry way?
Looks like he's gonna have to look through his little book of contacts, which I need to pull up here. There they are. His little book of contacts.
So tell me about these degenerates who own the non-sand stout underways.
The Iron Founderson clan. They adopted a human, and he apparently is just so obviously human. He's tall. He's like 6 feet tall. He's got bright red hair and smacks his head on every single support beam.
I meant in the sense that Terry would be angling just, so give me a list of all the underways you know of that aren't owned by you.
So that we can avoid them.
Yeah, so I can look at this list here and cross-reference.
I'm going to say let's use Jochi the Mainland's hireling that I've got on my list here.
Okay.
That guy that we tried to hire before to do mercenary work for us, and then we found him trying to kill us in the first session.
God, I almost forgot about that. Okay, so Joshi the hireling could look into this for you. Definitely one of the contacts that could ask some questions, but it would take some time.
That's okay.
All right.
Okay, so you're going to put your minion on it.
Well, hey, minions are useful for that sort of thing.
That's what they're there for. That and dying.
Sorry, whenever I hear minions, I think League of Legends.
Well, could be worse. You could think minions.
Banana.
I like how you don't even have to elaborate, and we all already know what you mean.
Banana.
Banana.
So, Terry is going to work on that with his minion, leading Sandstone on a bit, just so that he doesn't get suspicious of what you're actually up to. Meanwhile, Ert and Zan. Ert is just getting up after the whole stunning thing. Everyone has dispersed. Ert and Zan may roll me perception. Zan specifically rolls perception with disadvantage.
Disadvantage?
Yes.
I am upset.
Tough shit.
Perception. Fight me.
Ert ain't noticed shit.
12.
Okay, this is something that unfortunately Ert can't help but notice. Because you see, upon getting up and upon taking account of everything, Ert, the crystal that you were going to use to jab into someone's hand, seems to have been misplaced.
I
Oh,
put it into.
shit.
I stabbed it into Kenny.
Yes,
Well, it's not in him now.
It's not in Kenny anymore.
I have a passive perception of 17. Does that help?
No,
Why not?
because I
Okay.
know what the roll was.
Okay.
Well, look what you did. Do you know how long that took to make?
The crystal? Probably not long at all.
Well, yeah, it was
So
about 3 minutes after I figured out the rune for it, but figuring out the rune for it took about 7 hours.
well, there's a whole 6 people it could be. So let's go figure out which of the 6 people it is.
Ert's like, or I could turn on this crystal to full blast and we could see who gets a giant hole ripped in them.
Honestly, since they stole from us, I'm super okay to do that.
Ugh!
Okay. Well, the voice of reason has spoken. Ert's going to get out his personal crystal, and he's going to start ramping up its collection to maximum power, to the point where it's not gaining energy even slightly.
Oh no.
It'll be stealing. Just to clarify, what that does is it will pull the other crystal in, right? It won't like steal our life force from it.
I mean, it's probably going to kill all the grass.
I don't care about the grass.
And Canny's gone. Rip Canny.
You can tell Canny to go here. Zan chucks Canny really far before he does it. He just like baseball throw, chucks Canny.
Oh God. Okay, one moment, please. Just got. You gotta look up what the fuck kind of saving throw he would have.
It's a he. It's a he. Oh, fine. That doesn't really help, does it? It kind of helps. 4.
There should be. Just treat it like heat metal, or one of the other ones, magnetism. That's it.
As Ert sets this up, and before Ert turns it on, Zan says really loudly, "One of y'all just took a crystal, and if you don't want it to put a hole through you real soon, you better turn it back right now." Just saying.
Oh lordy.
Strength saving throw equal to 10 plus your spellcasting modifier.
which is proficiency plus. You're what? It'd be what is it? Is it int
Oh,
for?
that's to restrain something with magnetism. I don't know what throwing against it is.
Well, hold on. Uh, I'm gonna simplify this down. Roll me arcane.
Oh, Earth's really good at that, right?
I
If
mean,
I
Yep.
should be.
aren't I helping him? No. Well, 20 works
Well,
out.
there's a 20.
Yeah, you don't need advantage. You got a 20.
Okay, so you activate it, and there is a little bit of shuffling as people watch this in speculation about what the hell's gonna happen. They watch the grass die, and then a bit of sharp crystal ping right into the main one and sticks there. Zan, you may roll perception to see where it came from.
Okay. My passive perception of 17 doesn't help.
This is active.
I got 10 again.
Fucking hell. Maybe I should let you use passive perception one of these days, but no.
Well, so the way I understand passive anything is working is that's just always there. Like it's just that's like the lowest you can
That's
have
literally
for it.
they have to make your stealth checks or sleight of hand or whatever.
Okay.
So, yes, your passive perception does actually matter. It's just that he's consistently rolling higher than 17. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, Zan, you did not see which of these dwarves it came from, but it's obvious that it was one of them. The question is, do you want to pursue a vendetta?
Did it attach? So based on I'm looking at the crystal. Zan is looking at the crystal.
Yes.
Did the crystal come in from the right or the left? Surely I could see what part of the crystal it's attached to, the right side or the left side.
The left side.
So it was one of these three chuckleheads over here, Tunnelfall, Jara, or Luck, right?
Yes.
Came from that direction.
Yes.
Zan walks over there.
All of them start looking a bit nervous. Jara twiddles her fingers and says, Can we help you with something, sir? Tunnelfall dives into the cart and says, Wasn't me!
Heh.
Zan walks over to Tunnelfall, grabs him by the leg, holds him up upside down
Oh,
in front of him, and says, "If it wasn't you, who was it?"
Tunnelfall looks at you and says, Not me?
Zan Zan carries Tunnelfall back to Urt in the crystal. Well, actually, no. I'll go to the foreman first and say, "Hey, foreman."
Foreman looks down, sees Tunnelfall hanging from a leg, and says, Did Tunnelfall do something stupid again?
He just stole something from us.
I did not steal anything!
He stole a crystal from us.
Foreman Sandstout glares at Tunnelfall and says, Now listen, I know you're an unabashed coward who likes getting ahead. Tunnelfall nods emphatically, and he says, But stealing the shit from people we come across on the road gives us a bad reputation. You gotta think about the family name. Tunnelfall just like, boss, I'm pretty sure he's gonna kill me. Foreman Sandstout says, and that sounds like a you problem, Tunnelfall.
Zan starts flying vertically into the air while holding Tunnelfall.
What?
I'm like, I'll stop at like 30 feet in the air.
Hey, 1 second. 1 second.
Oh, Zan flies
Hey,
back down. Yes,
hey.
sir.
You. What's your class?
Tunnelfall says, fire? And then as he's saying that, Sandstout says, Rogue!
Well, either way, he don't got spell levels.
How do you know?
Or just sort of stares at him and goes, "No pointy hat."
Hell.
You have spell levels and you don't have a pointy hat or oh, okay, whatever. Zan flies back up. 30 feet. 30 feet into the air.
Didn't want the crystal, but she might have wanted the crystal because it looked shiny and valuable. He wouldn't mess around with anything magic because that sounds really dangerous, and he doesn't want to mess around with anything dangerous because he's a huge fucking coward.
Literally, the crystal is magical.
Yes, the crystal is magical, which is why he wouldn't want to touch it, because even though it would be super valuable, it'd also be dangerous.
Ah, okay. So who stole it then?
He
Zan
doesn't
flies high
know.
up.
It just wasn't him.
It wasn't you, huh?
It was not me. You gotta believe him because he's a massive coward.
Zan calls the foreman and asks the foreman, how should I believe this guy or no?
Foreman Sandstout considers and says, if he's telling you he's a huge coward, he's correct. If he's telling you anything else, you gotta remember that he's a huge coward.
Okay. Zan looks at Tunnelfall and says, I am going to drop you if you do not tell me the truth right now.
Okay?
Tell me the truth right now.
I was thinking about stealing it, and then I didn't because someone had already taken it.
Okay, who took it?
I don't know because I was thinking about stealing it, and so I wasn't watching it as closely as I should have. Next
Zan-
time I'll take notes to case the joint better.
Zan flies down to 10 feet above the ground and then drops Tunnelfall.
Tunnelfall slaps onto the ground, and Sandstout says, hey, while you're down there, can you make sure that we're not accumulating any damage to the bottom of the cart? Tunnelfall groans.
Zan walks back over to Luck and Jara.
Jara twiddles her fingers again and says, Mister, you're not going to do that to either of us, are you?
Zan grabs both of their legs and flies up 50 feet.
Okay, that one's going to be in athletics.
Okay. 19.
God, this is not going at all like I expected.
Welcome to D&D. Enjoy your stay. I got a 19.
All right, I'm going to roll to resist. How does this motherfucker not have... Okay.
That's a fail.
Both of them are lifted into the air with moderate amounts of terror.
Okay.
Just looks up as you go. I really don't get why you're making such a big deal of this. If they want to jam the crystal into them, I am more than willing to help them.
Zan calls down. They weren't trying to jam the crystal anywhere. They were going to sell it somewhere.
Ert's like, why?
Because they're scumbags. Anyway, hey,
But you
scumbags.
just sell it for more crystals.
Oh, right. Ert has no concept of money. Okay, I forgot. Ert, just pretend like you know the gold stuff that you don't like.
They're gonna hawk it on eBay.
Yeah, they were gonna use it to get other stuff.
Yep, they were gonna trade it.
They're thieves, is what I'm trying to say.
They use inferior currency.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
inferior.
they were gonna
currency
trade it
thieves.
for inferior currency. That was the answer.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I have to know, does Terry do anything about all of this?
Harry is trying very, very hard to just figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah, he's just hanging out with the centaurs. Like, you put up with a lot of shit.
Zan
Art just gives a nod and says, I'm paid by the hour, man.
Zan calls over to Terry and says, don't worry, I'm just dealing with some thieves right now. Hang on. I probably won't kill anybody, maybe.
And just, oh, is that all?
Yep.
I got the crystal on if he does.
Art.
Perfect.
Oh,
So I have these guys. I'm 50 feet up in the air.
yes.
And I just asked them, all right, which one of you was it?
Dara says, not me? And Luke also says, oh, well, then I'm saying not me too.
Okay, so here's the thing. If it wasn't either of you, then I'm just gonna if neither of you will tell me who it actually was, I'm just gonna drop both of you from 100 feet in the sky. Head first. So who was it?
Dara says that it was definitely Luke. Luke says that it was definitely Jara.
Zan says, I guess I'm dropping both of you then. If you tell so here, well, let me correct things. If the one who actually stole it tells me they stole it, I will put the other one down. I won't drop them. And then I will only drop the other one from 20 feet tall. So it'll hurt, but it won't kill you.
This is considered. And Jara says, so if I admitted that I did it, even if I didn't do it, I'd still end up falling a slower distance than if I did it and didn't say?
Zan does not answer that question and waits for an answer.
Zara seems to be considering game theory. I will have you roll an insight.
I was just going to see if Luke answered before Jara decided to do anything. I got an 18 insight.
He says, I definitely stole the crystal thing. And she seems to be saying it purely so that she'll fall a smaller distance. And then you notice Luke smile a bit.
Zan flies down to 20 feet, drops Jara, then flies up to 100 feet, with Luke still in one hand.
It's like, what? She admitted it! She admitted it!
Zan stares at Luke with his really angry eagle stare, because that's just his normal face. He always looks angry. It's a problem. But in this case, it helps. It looks at Luke and says, "What did you steal from me?"
I don't know what you're talking about. Zara calls from down on the ground, scraped and bruised. He's a bard! He's a spellcaster!
Ah, I see. What instrument? Sorry, go.
Okay.
What instrument do you play, Luke?
Luke says that he can play the guitar really well.
Does he have the guitar on him right now?
He doesn't want to answer that. Yes, he does.
I grab the guitar and I drop it from 100 feet.
He lets out a scream as it falls to the ground and shatters. And Foreman Sandstout looks at the shattered piece of the guitar and says, I told you to get that fucker made out of proper stone instead of wood.
All right, I'm glad the foreman is okay with this. Zan looks at Luke and says, "You see what happened to your guitar?
Yes?
That might happen to your head if I drop you from this high. What have we learned?"
That you're a sociopath?
Zan flies up to 150 feet.
A persuasive sociopath.
A sociopath who don't take no shit, dog. And then he asks, "Is that what we've learned? Is that right? We've learned that I'm a sociopath at 150 feet."
Luke considers this. And then he says, all right. I have one last thing that I can tell you.
Okay.
Make a charisma saving throw.
Oh boy. Do I just drop him on reflex as I'm trying to fight this?
No.
Nope.
Okay. It'd be really funny if I did. An 8. He got me.
Oh, yes, he did. And one moment, please. I need to check something.
How long does this last? Because we are 150 feet in the air.
Oh, it lasts a while. And here's the thing. He took him out of range of everyone else that would get hit by his last remaining spell. So, Zan, he starts putting on a performance, and you find yourself completely
Whoa.
enraptured.
Pause. How does he perform without his freaking guitar?
Air guitar.
Yes, air guitar, and he's mouthing the words.
How do wait a second. I thought bards had to use their instrument in order to cast spells.
Depends on the bard.
What level is it you get to where you don't have to? So I remember that's a skill you could take. Does he just have that?
Yeah.
I demand a rules check.
Okay, I will do a rules check.
I had him drop his guitar on purpose, dang it. There was a reason behind the madness. It wasn't just to be a sadistic bastard. If he had a sword on his hilt, I would have had him drop the sword. Like, I thought I was being smart.
The problem is you probably were.
Okay.
Okay, so spellcasting focus.
Yes!
Hold on. So the use of a musical instrument as our spellcasting focus. I need to look up the information about spellcasting focus.
Needed to cast a spell, yes?
Hold on.
I was so proud of myself that I made a smart move and disarmed the bard, and now I'm like, oh well. If it fails, it fails. I'll deal with it.
Oh, god damn it. I need to look up a little bit more information on this.
Okay.
No, this is a valid point.
Okay.
Spellcasting focus can replace material components for any spell as long as the component doesn't have a gold piece value. So that is something that allows you to ignore certain requirements of spells.
Okay.
And in this case, he's casting Enthrall, and Enthrall has verbal and somatic components. And somatic components means that if he's grabbed by the leg, he has to make a concentration check.
Enthrall. Does it have any what are the material components? there
No
any-
material components.
0 material components.
Yeah. It is just verbal and somatic. So he has to sing and he has to move his arms around. And now his his concentration, which is +3 plus proficiency.
We're level 5, is that right? Dang, I'm not resistant to charm effects yet.
Hold on just a moment.
As a side note, while he's talking, I looked it up, Zach. So apparently, it's not just the instruments. He can have any spell focus.
Okay.
So the recommended thing to do as a bard is to have a focus that you just carry on your body in case you need one.
Okay.
Okay.
He managed to succeed his concentration check very well.
Well, I can see why he was so focused.
So just imagine, man, in the middle of the air, enraptured and listening to this guy play. Now, here's a question for Zan, and I need you to answer honestly and not at all like a complete shitlord that I know you're going to do anyway.
Hey, that's rude.
Would Zan specifically continue to fly while he was listening to something that he really wanted to listen to?
He would stay put. He would hover there. He wouldn't move any further.
Okay, then he casts his master plan, the spell, and he managed to disable Zan, and he doesn't make Zan let go of him, and he's still 150 feet off the ground. And in the middle of this performance, he says, "Boss, help!"
Because if I flew down, I wouldn't be able to hear him. So I'd stay put so I could hear, right?
Yeah, so you're just sort of flapping there in midair,
Yeah,
staring down at him.
Yeah, I
He's
thought the
like-
question was, would you keep going higher? Like, no,
He's
I
not
wouldn't go
holding
higher.
a
I'd be listening.
guitar, but I hear a guitar.
It's like, wow, this is so strange. There's a guitar in the air.
So,
Yeah.
this guy is just yelling down at his boss for help. His boss is looking up and saying, we have to talk about our compensation scheme. Weren't you talking about how you deserved a raise yesterday? Boss, it's not the time.
Zan doesn't do anything for the next minute, right? Because I'm enthralled. I'm just there.
You're there for a minute and you can't do shit.
I'm just chilling.
Can he give you any commands?
No, he cannot.
Any creature that can't be on a failed save, the
Here,
target.
let's post it in chat.
Oh wait, all it does is give me disadvantage on wisdom checks.
Oh, then I'm thinking of Pathfinder First Edition Enthrall.
I'm reading this right now. It was like all he did was give me disadvantage on wisdom.
Oh, did we just use the wrong enthrall?
I think so.
Apparently, but I will say, just because it's funny,
Sure.
Zan, you are unaware of your surroundings or why you would want to drop this man for the moment.
All right, I'm just chilling. I'm just hanging out. Listening to
it's just
guitar.
Yep.
I'm just listening to some pretty guitar right now, just relaxing. I need to let off some steam. But I haven't been able to glass blow for a while.
Oh yeah.
Pretty stressed out. Just relaxing.
Negotiations with his boss about getting help, and the boss being like, you kept saying that you were destined for better things, and this was just a temp job. You really sure that I should come in and bail you out of this, man? I thought you wanted to go independent.
Pokes Terry. Can you do that?
No.
Ert's just looking up. But it sounds like a real guitar.
Wait, how do you hear it from 150 feet? Is that far? That's not that far. Right?
It's not enough to be enthralling. It's just enough to be like, how is he doing that?
Yeah, it's like, wow, I hear
Yeah,
it.
so, Terry, I have to know, what the hell are you up to with all of this?
He's just kind of staring in disbelief.
You're not negotiating? This is the prime negotiating time.
It's just out of everything that's happened, this is he could never have predicted this.
Oh, come on.
So should I get them down or something?
I would like. I am not as smart as Terry is, so I'd like to roll another intelligence.
I'd like to roll to become smarter, please.
I mean, honestly, fair. Go ahead and roll me that intelligence.
I wish that's how that worked in real life.
I know. Same here.
That's what Google is.
Okay, total of 20.
I rolled a
Fair.
20.
Nice.
Terry, for all that Foreman Sandstout is, claiming to not care all that much, you can tell it would actually inconvenience him if Luke were to fall on his head and die. So you could actually leverage this, especially considering that, Luke was the one who committed the offense.
Do it. That's what I wanted. Wink, wink. Metagame. What?
Well, he is gonna have to, leverage this. There's other options, but this one seems like the best immediate option. So let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, then Terry, I will have you go ahead and roll me. This is going to be a persuasion or an intimidate.
I'm gonna go ahead with persuasion this time.
Ert
When I-
nods in agreement. Never try to intimidate a dwarf.
27.
I feel like
Never try to intimidate a dwarf, even though
He says
Terry
a Zan
has
intimidates
successfully
dwarves.
intimidated Earth before.
I literally just intimidated 3. Yeah, Terry has intimidated Ert, and Zan is intimidating 3 dwarfs at the same time right now.
That's not real intimidation. Terry's
Okay.
just gonna yell at me.
So, Terry, you come to an agreement with Foreman Sandstout that you can actually use the underway on the condition that Luke is set down without harm, and you buy, let's say, 4 barrels of Sandstout. And considering the low price of Sandstout, Terry, that seems like a bargain.
Ert pokes Terry.
Terry will take that offer.
Ert pokes Terry again.
What is it, Ert?
It's real dwarf beer.
And
That's probably ale, not beer.
You should take it all.
no.
Just no!
It's like the mom with the 3-year-old at Walmart. Mom, I want this.
You
No,
don't need the
Mom.
gold for anything else.
Uh,
Actually, Ert would like to loudly say, we don't need all of that gold for anything else.
Oh my gosh.
Ert looks. It's just Ert. In this world, in this part of the world, on the mainlands, gold is the currency, not magic gems. We do need it.
Ert holds up the crystal. Yeah, well, can you shove gold into your body and it gives you a spell level?
Just
Oh.
at the price of my soul, no.
Rule check. No, wait.
Now, put it away. And there's a reason why I don't let you handle the money.
Just wait until Ert discovers powdered
Ert's just
crystal.
waiting for Terry to finish the deal so he can bring Zan down.
It's been a minute by now, so Zan's probably back to his senses.
Okay,
So-
I will say that things can happen a little bit faster in this than everywhere else. So, Terry, you come to the agreement with Sandstout, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Sandstout yells up, and Zan is able to actually hear this. We've come to an agreement. We need him alive for now.
Alive for now, roger that. Zan grabs Luke by the head, flies down to 40 feet, and drops him. So it's not head first, so if anything happens, he breaks a leg.
Ert's gonna grab him.
Oh.
Okay, Luke manages a reasonably graceful landing, and Ert helps.
Well, I was gonna cast a levitate.
Oh, don't do that.
That's how I was gonna get Zan down. I was gonna levitate him down.
I fly.
I know, and I would levitate you down.
I don't think that's how levitate works.
With enough runic energy, I'm sure it does.
Uh-huh.
Or you catch fire. One or the other.
If I catch fire, I'm putting a longbow arrow straight through your forehead.
Ert nods sagely at this.
God.
Glad we agree.
Fair enough.
Glad we agree.
Okay. So what was that thing you were doing with the air guitar?
He says that it was bardic magic, and he's a bard, and his legs hurt, and he really wants the chance to tend to them right now.
Yeah. But can you do that again? Like the thing where you play a guitar in the air and it sounds like a real guitar.
He's out of spell slots, so
Urt grabs the crystal and just jabs him.
Oh no.
Ah,
roll me that fucking sleight of hand.
Also, while he was talking about the guitar, Zan was stepping on the remains of the guitar with a while staring at Luke. 18 sleight of hand.
Okay, go ahead and roll me your own sleight of hand or an athletics.
Hey,
Unfortunately, you have had your tools confiscated.
Zan continues stomping on the remains of the guitar while staring at Luke.
Luke is just weeping. Just, I used to be part of a big band.
Your tears taste delicious.
I used to be somebody.
And then you became a petty thief. Learn from this. Zan walks away with the crystal.
Terry just stares at this little group and just sighs.
Harriet, why are you, of all people, the conscience?
Zan walks up to Terry and says, I finished negotiations. Totally deadpan, monotone, serious look on his face.
and you have to carry the stabby crystal.
Terry pinches the bridge of his nose. It's just like, as refugees and runaways, we're supposed to be giving good impressions.
I'm sure I gave a great impression to the foreman here, right, foreman?
Foreman gives a nod and says, yeah, I'm not going to fuck with you anytime soon.
Zan looks back to Terry and says, see, that's called negotiating.
Just Terry going, yeah, great, yeah, that's fine. Look, I got the safe passage, and we bought a couple barrels of stout. So,
Oh. Did me dangling that guy upside down from 150 feet help?
no comment.
Urt has just realized the wheel he helped build is on the wrong axis, and it could never connect properly.
Meanwhile, old Pick, just working in his new and improved workshop, completely ignoring everything that did, he's almost done with the wheel.
Oh, wonderful. Perfect. You can keep that as a souvenir.
It lands on the guitar.
Terry just shakes his
Oh.
head.
Like, picking up the scattered fragments, it's just like, maybe I get crunch.
Terry's gonna come over.
That wouldn't have
to-
happened if it was made out of stone. I'm just saying.
Terry just, hey, Urt, why don't you go and dig a hole?
Zan calls out to Terry, if you fix that guitar, I'm breaking it again.
Terry, I'm not going to fix it.
If you give him a guitar, I'm breaking it.
Terry, come with me. He's gonna come over here closer to the trees.
Okay. Follows, looking very despondent.
Zan is watching from afar, very carefully. No helping
Using the
thieves.
trees as cover.
Zan flies into the air and stalks them because he's a jerk.
Using the trees as cover. Both aerial and horizontal. Hey, let's see here. Terry.
Do they have to make a stealth check?
Hush. I want
Okay,
Terry does.
fine.
You gotta let Terry do his thing. Thank you.
Fine.
Urt on the ground. Stop spying on the spy. He's doing spy shit.
Zan flies back down. Feathers puffed out.
You can't watch him.
It's like, I can give you a new instrument.
He looks to you and says, at what price?
It's just a favor in the future.
Okay.
Terry's using Terry. I want to add him to my subtle hooks.
Yeah, if you told Zan, does Zan pick up on this? Zan would allow that if he picked up on it, but if he's too stupid to pick up on it,
roll a fucking insight.
if he's too stupid to pick up on it, he's gonna be angry about it for a while.
The fact that Terry is taking this guy deep into the forest to talk privately, away from the man that's yelling, threats.
Yeah, I think Zan would get this.
Okay.
With an 11,
Even with an 11, yeah, it's fairly obvious. Terry's just doing the good cop, bad cop routine.
Okay, Zan stops being pouty about it. Zan
Yeah.
doesn't like thieves, if you haven't noticed. He doesn't like thieves.
Terry's just like, from one bard to another, I can get you a new loot. In fact, I have a spare with me right now.
It's called the loot loot.
I just would have to ask for a favor in the future.
He thinks about this and says, considering my prospects right now consist of fuck all right. Whatever horrible cult thing that you're going to sign me up for, or mailing list, or spam email, I don't care.
Spam email. Yes.
Terry chuckles a bit at that and goes, oh, nothing of the sort. It'll mostly be for information. You know the main lands better than I do.
He gives a slow nod.
Terry uses Luke's name to sign up for all of the brothels in the area. Don't worry.
Terry will hand over his loot. He has a nice basic one that's not, his special one that he just got.
So you didn't hand over the loot. You handed over the basic loot.
I handed over a nice basic loot.
Okay. Thought you were giving away the
Which
loot.
lets me add, because this one, do I have to roll to put him on my subtle hooks, or no? Because
honestly, no. But I will say that this guy actually is a 10th level bard. So his subtle hook DC is 17.
okay,
Wow. That's pretty high.
Yeah, like, the entire premise of this shit was that this guy actually was reasonably intelligent. It's just that he never got the chance to do the shanky shit that he wanted to do.
He shouldn't have stolen.
because Zan chose violence.
Zan always chooses violence.
actually, question. I have 2 free hooks at DC 13. Can I put him on one of those?
Sure. But remember that DC 13 is, less impressive than DC 17.
True.
Wait, I
I'll
thought
keep
you-
him at 17. I thought the 17 was something I had to roll against.
No. The DC of the hook determines how powerful the hook is when you call it in, and it also determines how difficult it is to reestablish it after it's used.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, I'll keep him at 17.
So now that you have him hooked, Erd is sort of leaning, trying to figure out where you are. It's like, hey, do you got that bard guy? I made a new stabber.
It just Terry
As-
just
As soon as Zan hears the new stabber line.
No.
it just you might want to keep the loot tucked away for now, at least until we leave.
Okay, so please imagine, Zan and Ert, you are fighting over the possession of the new stabbing crystal.
Not
And
really a fight,
okay.
it's more of domination.
God damn it.
So please imagine that you're fighting over it, and you're doing all this shit, and Old Pick says, "Hey, by the way, wheel's ready," and he deliberately rolls it right over and shatters the crystals that runs over it.
Zan says, I'm okay with this.
The stabby crystal or the big crystal?
Stabby crystal.
It's like Ert looks after him. That took 3 minutes to make.
Old Pick says, and that's 3 minutes of your life that you're not going to get back. But hey, look on the bright side. You spent longer than that fighting with Zan.
Ert looks at him and goes, I approve of you.
Zan takes out a silver coin and passes it flips it over to Old Pick because, it solved the problem.
Old Pick catches it, gives a slow nod to Zan, and says, I got shit to do. And then he goes over to fix the wheel.
Man after my
As
own heart.
Terry is walking back with Luke,
Uh,
he is going to be asking just some of your basic bard to bard questions, like, oh, what college are you from?
he says that he is a lore bard, and he mentions that he actually used to travel with an old group of dedicated magic users. They were huge proponents of magic performances. They called their music magic music, and it was incredibly cringe, and everyone loved it because it was so cringe.
So EDM, got it.
Terry finds it fascinating. He is making little notes about this on his clipboard.
How'd this guy handle the Magipocalypse?
He tells Luke.
Not well.
He tells Luke, it's like, yes. From where I'm from, I also am a college of lore.
He squints at you and says, I sort of doubt that.
And just, Terry, just, if you want to keep your loot, you will believe it.
He sighs and gives a nod. That things are more or less resolved. Do you have any last things that you'd like to do here?
Yeah, Terry's gonna get a map out in order to actually get the entrance to this tunnel.
And when he gets the map out, he immediately provokes confusion because, hey, this is Overland. Don't you need a map of all the tunnels and whatnot?
It just, as of right now, I just need the entrance from above ground, where the entrance is located.
Fair enough.
And then if you have a map of the tunnels, I will gladly buy one.
I was about to say, yeah, okay. Terry's on top of it.
And so Larry manages to negotiate for another map in order for them to travel by tunnels. And in payment for the map, Terry is saddled with another keg of sand stout.
Sandstone. It's literally a keg full of stone.
I mean, that's unfiltered, man.
Zan will not be drinking it, so Zan doesn't care.
Anyway, so that is Terry. Zan, do you have any last things that you would like to do with these dwarves?
Zan continues stomping on the guitar.
You man.
It's under a giant stone slab now. You're just stomping on the slab.
I'm perched on top of the slab, adding my very insignificant weight to the crushing force.
Fucking hell. All right.
Okay, but the rest of you guys, come on. One of you has to be a caster. It's fine. It's like having your hand pierced.
Zan calls out to and says, if you try to stab one more person with the crystal, I'm going to stab you with my sword.
It's consensual.
No, it's not.
Old Pick comes up to Urt and says, all right, I got an experiment that I'm willing to run.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Zan calls out to Old Pick, I warned you.
Okay, Old Pick holds out his hand and says, all right, now I do got to ask a couple of questions first. Urt, do you answer his questions?
He's a dwarf. I approve of him. Shoot.
Urt, roll me athletics or sleight of hand with disadvantage.
9.
Okay, Old Pick takes the crystal and rams it into Urt's boot.
Good.
It just shatters.
Oh, you have steel-toed boots.
Old Pick looks at that and says, yeah, you really got to work on your construction, man. Like, honestly, if it shatters that easily, it's not ready for use in the real world.
Hmm. I wonder if I can make it a pill instead of stabbing it into people.
You work on that, but remember, you got to test it first. And by test it, I mean test it on someone who really, really knows what they're talking about. Because if some odd effect happens, you don't want to miss that information.
Urt nods sagely. This is so fulfilling.
Meanwhile, literally everyone else can tell that, like, this guy is just trying to save everyone else from Urt.
Well, Urt's going to load his crystal back up and, he's going to come up with a new way to shove magic into people that doesn't involve stabbing them in the hands.
Good news, it's a suppository.
Well, yeah, and?
You, Shoggy, goddamn. We are leaving. This is the end of the session. Good God.
Didn't even let Zan do anything. God damn you, Shaggy.
No, Zan's entire thing was that he was still stomping on the guitar.
So where did we wind up?
You wound up right here. You should be on the appropriate map tile.
Yeah.
So let's just quick run through. What are we looking at down here? Are we trying to hit one of these points across the desert?
Well, going underground is probably a really good way to make it so that the people following us do not follow us anymore.
What if they have undead dwarves with them?
then we kill the undead dwarfs and keep going. I don't know.
Yeah, but then they could follow us.
Not if we destroy the. I don't know. I mean, we'll figure that out as we go. But where
We
do
will
what
burn that bridge when we come to it.
we will burn all of the bridges when we come to them, as we have currently as we have been doing. Actually, to be fair, as much as Terry gave Zan crap, Zan did a really good job negotiating with the foreman in that particular way. It just didn't match Terry's style.
And was
okay?
prevented from having any fun at all.
You had some fun. You built a
Oh.
forge. You built a
Didn't get
forge.
to stab anyone though.
You
How could
Okay.
you be so cruel?
Uh-huh.
So I have some news for you guys.
Okay.
So the first thing to note is that because of your travel, the pylon is now down to 50 out of 80 runic energy. So, it's not quite half, it's a little above it. But the more important news is that because I ruled that you didn't have the pylon turned on this session,
Yeah.
your EXP tracker, you have hit level 6.
Yay!
Woo! Hold on. What do I get at level 6 again? I gotta double check.
You'll have to find out on your own time, because that is more or less what we got. And next time, we will discover how you travel through the desert. It is most likely going to be through the underways, and there will be interesting stuff down there, because it's all dwarvish territory, baby.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Erd is lobbying hard for the underway options. Like, if the other option was ride in air-conditioned chariots over the desert, he would still vote against it.
All right, you giant nerds. With that, we're going to leave off a nice short session today.
Yep.
Everyone take care of yourselves, and we will see you week after next, hopefully.
All right.
Later, nerds.
Later.
Peace out.